The doorbell rang at exactly 7:43 p.m. on a Tuesday, one of those oddly specific times that sticks with you like a splinter. I had just finished grading sophomore essays on The Great Gatsby, which felt ironic later, in that hindsight is a comedian sort of way. There I was, red pen in hand, dishing out judgment on fictional tragedies while one was unpacking itself in my front yard. My wife, Monica, was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables with military precision. The knife hitting the board was steady, rhythmic, tick, 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 like a countdown I didn't recognize yet. When I opened the door, I saw a boy. No, a young man. 18? 19? Lanky frame, dark hair, awkward stance like his sneakers didn't quite belong to him yet. Mr. Keller? His voice cracked. That's me. He held out his hand. My name is Eli Brenner. I'm your son. My hand stayed on the doorknob. Tensed. My wedding ring tapped against the brass like it had a question. Son? Let's rewind. There was a girl, Jessica. College. Summer. We had a brief thing, fizzled with the season. I transferred. Lost touch. That chapter was supposed to end quietly, like a song faded out on a long drive. Apparently, it had a sequel. Monica appeared beside me, drying her hands on a dish towel. Who's at the door? I didn't turn. This is Eli. He says he's my son. The towel hit the floor. She looked at him, then me, then back again. You're what? I didn't know, I said fast, like that would fix it. I swear. Eli reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded photo. Me, 20 years younger. My arm around Jessica, smiling like I knew what I was doing. Mom kept this, he said. Along with your name. Where's she now? I asked, brain half melted. Gone, Eli said. Cancer. Last year. She wanted me to find you. Monica's voice dropped to a low, dangerous calm. Inside. Now. To Eli. You need to leave. I didn't argue. I just asked him where he was staying. Holiday Inn. Room 214. I promised to call. When the door shut, Monica didn't scream. She didn't throw things. She just said, pack a bag. But I didn't know. You always have an excuse, she said. Now you have a son. Congratulations. 30 minutes. She called her sister. Then her lawyer. I packed. Not because I agreed, but because sometimes the smart play is retreat. I left quietly. No slam. No plea. That night, I didn't go to Eli. I sat in my car, heater on, watching the red numbers on the dashboard blink past 9 p.m. like they knew something I didn't. A text from Monica. Please don't come back. I didn't reply. Instead, I checked into the Holiday Inn. The woman at the desk handed me a key card and a coupon for the breakfast bar. Room 214. The same number Eli had said, but I didn't knock. I sat on my own bed, in my own room, and let the silence do what silence does best. Whisper truths you've been trying not to hear. The Holiday Inn smelled like old carpet cleaner and ambition. My room had 2 queen beds, both untouched, and a single lamp too dim to read by but too bright to ignore. I sat on the edge of the one closest to the door. Some laugh-track sitcom played on mute. I turned it off. Room 214 was a few doors down. Eli's room. I didn't knock. I kept thinking, do I want to meet him as a man? Or just keep him as an idea? The idea of a son was manageable. Real sons ask questions. Need things. Bleed. I stared at my phone. Still no message from Monica. Just her last one. Please don't come back. You'd think after 20 years of marriage, the end would come with more noise. More fire. Instead, it ended like a power outage. 1 second the lights are on. The next, you're staring into dark space with no clue how long it'll last. I eventually called Eli. He answered after 1 ring. Hello? Hey, it's Adam. Silence. Then, you okay? Still figuring that out, I admitted. Want to grab breakfast tomorrow? Yeah, that'd be good. That night, I barely slept. I kept hearing Monica's voice in my head, crystal clear and weaponized. You cheated on me. You lied. You have a son. Only, I didn't lie. I didn't know. That's the part that stings. Not just the fury, but the certainty behind it. Like she had a drawer of doubts waiting to be opened. The next morning, I met Eli in the lobby. He looked nervous. Same way I probably looked at 18. We got eggs and toast and awkward silences. Your mom, I said between sips of motel coffee. What was she like? As a mom? Funny. Tired. Uncompromising. He smiled at the last one. You two didn't last long? 3 weeks, I said. College. Right before I transferred. He nodded slowly. She said you didn't know. She was right. I didn't look up, but I should have wondered. Should have checked. That's on me. Eli didn't say anything, just stirred sugar into his coffee like he was measuring time. Later that day, I texted Monica. Can we talk? Just talk. No reply. Then came the part one didn't see coming. Around 5 p.m., my phone rang. Monica's number. I answered fast. Adam, she said, clipped and icy. Don't call me again. I'm not trying to fix this overnight, I said. He's real, Mon. Eli, he's not a threat. He's just a kid. A kid who lost his mom and wants to know his dad. You lied to me, she repeated. No, I said gently. You just never gave me a chance to explain. Her voice cracked, just barely. You broke something. And I'm not asking you to glue it back together. But maybe just don't slam the door while I'm still standing in it. She hung up. And that was the last time we spoke for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's how long Monica left me floating in the gray zone. No texts. No emails. No dramatic declarations of war. Just nothing. And for the record, nothing is worse than yelling. At least yelling has shape. I spent most nights at the Holiday Inn, but not all. Some, I spent with Eli, awkwardly orbiting around each other like two planets unsure if they're meant to collide or just pass. We went to a Tigers game. I told him I used to pitch. He told me he liked art. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. We just talked. Like men trying to rewrite the first chapter they never got. On day 21, I got a message from Monica's sister, Laura. You might want to come get your files. My files. Monica hadn't spoken to me directly, but apparently she'd appointed herself archivist of our shared life. I pulled into the driveway like a burglar, quiet tires, slow engine. The porch light was off. That used to mean she was asleep. Now it meant I wasn't welcome. Laura opened the door. She's at yoga, she said. I said I'd be here. How generous, I replied dryly. The guest room, formerly the reading room, back when we had hobbies, was now filled with boxes. Not just documents. My sweaters. My cufflinks. My books, alphabetized like a farewell. She say anything else? I asked, already knowing the answer. Laura shrugged. Only that she's keeping the house. And the dog. Of course she is, I muttered. That dog peed on my pillow twice and still got kisses on the mouth. I loaded the boxes into my car and left. That night, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I opened the filing cabinet. You know the one. Every couple has it. The place where your life lives on paper. Insurance policies, tax returns, medical records, weird warranties you forgot to use. And in that drawer, under Household 2019, I found it. A receipt. 2 nights. Hotel Grandview. Room service. Champagne. Celebration package. Dated 8 months ago. 8. Not weeks. Not days. This wasn't about Eli. This was a rerun. I was just the guy who didn't notice the commercials had changed. The name on the bill? Dr. Kevin Halbridge. Familiar. Monica's colleague. The one she always described as harmless, gay, or not my type depending on the day. I sat on the floor of my motel room, staring at that paper like it owed me an apology. I thought about Eli. I thought about the months Monica had spent unraveling our life in silence while I was out buying groceries and dog food, and maybe a little hope. Then I thought. She thought I was too distracted to notice. Too soft to ask questions. Too loyal to check the drawer. And maybe I had been. Until now. I didn't sleep after finding the hotel receipt. Not because I was heartbroken. No. That would have been 3 weeks ago. Back when Monica tossed me out like expired yogurt. Back when I still thought we meant something. Now I was somewhere between resentment and clarity. The receipt sat on the motel desk, heavy as a confession. Dr. Kevin Halbridge. Celebration package. The kind of thing you order when you're not sneaking around. You're rewarding yourself. I ran his name through a quick online search. Neurologist. Played squash on weekends. Public speaker on something called cognitive flexibility. Ironic. His profile photo came up. And there it was. That same suit I helped Monica pick out for her clinic fundraiser last fall. Navy blue. Subtle pinstripe. She had modeled it in our bedroom mirror and said, Kevin's not great with fashion, so I figured I'd help him out. Right. She dressed him. Then undressed him. Beautiful. I closed the laptop and went to the mini fridge. No beer, just bottled water and half a Subway sandwich I hadn't touched since Tuesday. I stared at it like it might apologize too. Instead, I sat on the bed and looked around. Room 211, Holiday Inn Express. Beige walls. One framed photo of a canoe on a lake. Generic piece. But peace wasn't what I wanted. I wanted context. So I texted Eli. You ever hear the name Kevin Halbridge? He responded in under a minute. Yeah, he's the guy who helped my mom during chemo. Sent flowers even after she passed. Did you ever meet him? Once. I was like 15. What? I didn't answer. See, that's when the puzzle pieces clicked into something uglier. Monica had mentioned Jessica's death. Told me she helped with the arrangements. Said it was the right thing to do. But now I was seeing the real picture. Jessica dies. Monica steps in. Sends flowers. Offers condolences. Plays helper. Somewhere in the margins, Kevin Halbridge appears. And somehow, they go from eulogies to champagne. It was a small thing, a tiny flicker of suspicion, but once you notice a leak, it's all you can hear. I got in my car. Drove across town. Not to confront Monica, no. I wasn't stupid. That moment had to be planned. I went to the house. Our house. Mikey still worked. The dog barked. Didn't lunge. Didn't whimper. Just looked at me like, you again? The kitchen was cleaner than usual. Sterile, even. Like someone had been preparing for company. I moved to the office. The place Monica called her corner, a little nook she'd claimed after the pandemic, filled with houseplants and hand lotions. Second drawer, bottom left. Her old photo albums. She had dozens of them, meticulously labeled. She printed photos even in the digital age, like she didn't trust the cloud. I flipped through the pages until I found it. Tahoe. Fall Retreat, 2023. And there he was, Kevin, standing in front of a fireplace, holding a glass of red wine. Monica beside him, slightly turned toward the lens, her smile soft. Intimate. Not a coworker smile. A smile you wear when you've decided someone else gets your Sunday mornings. The photo was labeled in her handwriting. Kev and me, first night, LOL. LOL. She used to hate texting acronyms. Real words, Adam, she'd say. You're not 12. And now here she was, LOLing in cursive on her secret scrapbook. I flipped the page. There was another photo. Same cabin. Same fireplace. Same wine. Except now Kevin had his hand on her waist. And this one? No label. I stared at it for a long time. My stomach didn't drop. My eyes didn't water. But my jaw ached from how hard I'd been clenching it without realizing. I didn't take the photos. I didn't tear the pages. I just pulled out my phone, snapped a picture, and slid the album back into place like a surgeon closing a ribcage. As I walked out of the house, I realized something. Monica had never once mentioned Tahoe. Not in passing. Not even when she came home that week exhausted from the clinic summit in Dallas. That's what she called it. Dallas. I laughed. Quiet, bitter, surgical. Back at the motel, I printed the photo at the CVS across the street. Bought an envelope. Wrote one sentence on the back. You went to Tahoe. I went to hell. I didn't sign it. Didn't need to. She'd know. Then I mailed it. No letter. No explanation. No warning. Just proof. Cold and undeniable. Like the receipt. Like the silence. Like her carefully packed boxes and spotless conscience. That night, I sat in the motel chair, staring out the window at the empty parking lot, and thought. You built your lie like a vacation. But I've been living in the layover. And something in me, some old, tired part, finally started to wake up. Because you can survive betrayal, but you don't come back from it the same. The morning after I mailed the photo, I sat in the motel breakfast nook, plastic spoon and a bowl of cereal, surrounded by strangers who looked like they were late for meetings that didn't matter. My phone buzzed. One new voicemail. Unknown number. I didn't even listen to it right away. Just stared at the screen and chewed like someone pretending to be alive. When I finally pressed play, it was Monica's voice. You went through my things? Seriously, Adam? That photo was private. You think you're proving something? You're not. You're just embarrassing yourself. Click. That was it. Not I'm sorry. Not I can explain. Just outrage that I'd exposed her fiction to daylight. That's when it really hit me. Monica wasn't trying to save the marriage. She was trying to control the story. And I wasn't in it anymore. I was the footnote. The ex she'd eventually described to friends as emotionally distant or never really understood me. But I did. God help me, I did. I remembered every version of her. The girl who snorted when she laughed too hard. The woman who danced in the kitchen to Fleetwood Mac while burning garlic bread. The one who wore my sweatshirts and called them hug wrappers. I knew her. At least, I thought I did. But people don't always change. Sometimes they just finish revealing themselves. And Monica? She'd been rehearsing the role of grieving wife turned brave phoenix long before I ever opened that drawer. That afternoon, I drove to Eli's hotel. He opened the door still holding a pencil, mid-sketch. A half-finished charcoal drawing sat on the table behind him. A mountain range, if I had to guess. "Hey," he said, cautious. "Want to get out of here for a bit?" I asked. He nodded, grabbed his coat. Didn't even ask where we were going. We ended up at a little diner off Route 12. Vinyl booths, coffee that tasted like it had survived 3 wars, and a waitress who called everyone sweetheart. It was perfect. "Why'd you really look for me?" I asked, once the menus were gone and the conversation had nowhere to hide. Eli didn't flinch. "Mom told me before she passed. Said you didn't know. That it wasn't your fault. But I needed to see that for myself. And," he shrugged, "you're awkward. Too polite. Bad at small talk." I waited. "But I don't think you're a liar." I nodded. "That's a low bar." "It's a bar a lot of people never reach," he replied. Then added, "She used to cry when you were on TV." I blinked. "What?" "You did that local science segment. Tuesday nights with Mr. Keller," he grinned. "She recorded everyone. Said I had your hands." I looked down at my hands. Pale. Veined. Unremarkable. Then I remembered the photo on Jessica's fridge. A kid with charcoal under his nails, holding a model rocket made from old soda bottles. "Eli," I said slowly, "you ever think about going to art school?" He paused. "Every day." "Then go." He blinked. "It's not that simple." "Sure it is," I said, finishing my coffee. "You don't need permission to become yourself." That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling of room 211, thinking about something I hadn't thought of in years, the first time I told Monica I loved her. It was raining. We were sitting on the kitchen floor of her old apartment, eating cold Chinese food from the box. She laughed at something stupid I said, leaned her head on my shoulder, and just like that, I knew. "I love you," I blurted out. She didn't say it back. Not right away. She just smiled, touched my knee, and whispered, "Took you long enough." It had felt real. But now, that memory had a new filter. Not sepia. Not nostalgia. Autopsy. I was dissecting the past with a scalpel, looking for signs of decay I missed. And I found them. All over. The time she changed her password and told me it was just habit. The business trips that never had receipts. The sudden obsession with cardio after 15 years of hating the gym. I didn't accuse her then. Because I was loyal. Because I trusted her. Because I was busy being the good husband, while she rehearsed being someone else's escape plan. The next morning, I took the dog. Didn't knock. Just unlocked the door, whistled, and he came bounding out like he'd been waiting. Left a note. He likes boiled chicken, not kibble. You never noticed. No threats. No drama. Just subtraction. She called later. Didn't leave a voicemail this time. She knew better. Later that night, I got a text from Laura, her sister. She's spiraling. Kevin's wife found out. Told everyone. It's not good. I stared at the message for a long time. Monica had made me the villain in a story where she was always misunderstood. But now? Now the curtain was collapsing. The script torn. And the audience? Wasn't clapping anymore. I didn't reply to Laura. Didn't ask how Monica was doing. I just turned off my phone, poured a glass of water, and sat in silence. Not sadness. Not rage. Just a quiet, growing resolve. Because now I wasn't just a man recovering from betrayal. I was a man preparing. There's a moment right after your heart breaks where everything gets eerily calm. Like the air before a storm, or the silence right before a surgeon says, you're going to feel a little pressure. I was in that moment now. The fury had passed. The begging phase too. Even the grief was starting to fade, not because I'd moved on, but because I'd outgrown it. You don't mourn a fire when you finally see it was arson. And Monica? She was still standing in the ashes, looking for a way to spin the story into something palatable. Too late. The silence between us wasn't punishment, it was surgery. Clean. Sterile. Controlled. And now, I was finally ready to start cutting. It started small. I closed the joint checking account. Not out of spite, just practicality. She'd already emptied the trust account 2 weeks earlier for something she labeled medical consulting, which, I assumed, translated to hotel stays and candlelit dinners with a neurologist named Kevin. I didn't even call her about it. Just sent the bank statements to my lawyer with the subject line. Consider this her half. He replied within 20 minutes. Copy. Let me know when you're ready to file. I was. But first, I needed something. Closure? No. Closure's a scam people sell you when they want you to cry politely and walk away without questions. What I needed was leverage. That's when I remembered the safe deposit box. We opened it 5 years ago after my dad passed, kept the deed to the house, some jewelry from Monica's grandmother, and a hard drive labeled Trip Insurance. It was her idea. She said it was smart to have backups. And man, did that hard drive turn out to be a gift from the future. Because Monica never deleted anything. Not photos. Not emails. Not voice memos. She was sentimental like that. Or maybe narcissistic. Hard to tell the difference sometimes. I opened the drive, plugged it into my laptop at the motel, and waited for it to load. 7 folders. All neatly named. Color-coded. One was titled Clinic Retreats, 2022. I opened it. Dozens of JPEGs. Some work stuff. Some not. Then I saw one. Wine tasting _ fireplace.jpg. I clicked it. And there they were. Monica in a black dress I'd never seen. Kevin in that same blue blazer from the photo I'd already mailed her. Her hand was on his thigh. Caption. So much fun tonight. Can't wait for tomorrow. Clinking glasses. It was sent to her private email. The one she swore she didn't use anymore. I copied the entire folder to a thumb drive. Then created a zip backup. Then uploaded that zip to a cloud folder and shared it with one person. Kevin Halberd's wife. Her name was Amelia. I found her Instagram months ago, back when Monica casually mentioned Kevin's sweet wife who bakes. Apparently, Amelia made cakes shaped like storybook castles and posted them with captions like, "Love is in the details, 2 hearts. She had no idea. Not yet. So I sent her a message. Hi Amelia. You don't know me, but I think your husband and my wife have been writing a story of their own. I thought you deserved the same chapter one was given. Attached is a folder. Do with it what you will. Adam. I didn't sign it, Mr. Keller. Didn't need to. I wasn't her husband's student. I was just the guy who stopped folding and started standing. Monica found out 2 days later. She didn't call. She showed up. At the Holiday Inn. Heels. Makeup. Hair curled like it was still 2015, and we still celebrated anniversaries. I was eating cold lasagna from the diner across the street when she knocked. Adam, she said, voice soft. We need to talk. I opened the door halfway. Not to be polite, just to let her see my eyes. This isn't a rom-com, I said. You don't get to stand in the rain and fix this with eyeliner and regrets. She stepped forward. You told his wife. I did. She blinked. Like she hadn't expected the honesty. Maybe she thought I'd squirm. Apologize. Say it wasn't personal. But it was. Everything she did was personal. Her lies had my name written on the envelopes. Her denials happened in a house I helped build. And her affair? That was the story she was writing on top of my silence. So no, I didn't owe her anything. She swallowed hard. You just destroyed 2 families. I almost laughed. You did that. I just turned on the lights. She tried again. You were never supposed to find out. That one landed. Because it was honest. No sugar. No spin. Just the truth, raw and vile. I stepped out of the doorway, pulled the envelope from the dresser, the one with the divorce papers. Freshly printed. Signed. Dated. Here, I said, handing it to her. You wanted freedom? Congratulations. You're free. She didn't take it. Just stared at it like it was radioactive. You're not angry? She asked. I was, I said. Then I realized. I'm not losing you. You already left. All I'm doing is cleaning up after your exit. She nodded slowly, mascara starting to smudge. Do you still love me? She asked. That one hurt. Because the answer used to be automatic. No? Now it was honest. No, I said. But I loved who I thought you were. And I'll grieve that woman for a long time. She didn't cry. She just took the envelope. And walked away. The click of her heels echoed down the hallway like punctuation. Not a comma. Not a question mark. A full stop. After Monica left the motel with the divorce envelope clutched like a subpoena, I stood there for a moment. Not triumphant. Not broken. Just done. You spend years being the background in someone else's portrait. Holding the frame. Smiling on cue. But the second you walk out of that picture, the silence changes. It becomes yours. I didn't celebrate. I just packed. Left the motel. Closed the chapter. I moved into a small 1-bedroom across town. Hardwood floors. One squeaky cabinet. Nothing special, except it was mine. Every creak and echo belonged to me. I picked up Eli the next morning. He tossed his duffel bag in the back without a word. Where to? I asked. Chicago, he said. Touring a campus. Art school. We drove in silence for 2 hours. Halfway there, he finally spoke. Thanks for not running. I looked over. I did run. Just not from you. He nodded. Fair. 2 weeks later, Monica posted a long message on Facebook. Sometimes things fall apart so better things can fall into place. Right. The classic rebirth post. Hashtags. A filtered selfie with sunbeams. The works. She got sympathy in the comments. People said things like, so proud of your strength and onward, queen. No mention of hotel rooms. No neurologists. No admissions. Just curated suffering. I didn't comment. Didn't like. Didn't heart react. I just unfollowed. Then I did the same with mutual friends. Her sister. Her coworkers. Even the dog's Instagram, which I now realized had been for her more than him. That's how you get your life back, not with fire, but with subtraction. 3 months later, I got invited to a dinner. Not by Monica. By Kevin. You read that right. He emailed me directly. You probably hate me. You have every right. But Amelia's gone. I lost everything. And I think we should talk. We met at a bar. Neutral ground. I wore a gray sweater. He wore guilt. He ordered whiskey. I ordered water. He looked thinner. Sleepless. The kind of man whose world stopped spinning the second he wasn't the center of it. I loved her, he said. I didn't blink. Which one? He sighed. You don't have to forgive me. I don't plan to. He nodded. Stirred his drink. You know, for a long time, she called you stable. She said it like it was a bad word. I smiled. It kept the lights on. He raised his glass, half out of shame, half out of respect. To the ones who stayed. I didn't clink his glass. I left mine on the table. Then I stood up, looked him dead in the eyes, and said, You got the affair. I got my soul back. Enjoy the trade. And I walked out. Revenge? No, that wasn't the goal. That would have meant she still mattered. That I needed to make her hurt like I hurt. But I didn't. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The cleanest revenge is thriving in a life they never thought you could build without them. I filed the final divorce paperwork myself. Quietly. Efficiently. Split the assets. Took what was mine. Left the rest. I didn't gloat. Didn't post quotes. Didn't block her number. She texted once. Just a period. I never responded. I put the dog's leash in my hand one morning, and he wagged like he didn't care about the past. We walked to the lake. Sat on the bench. The same bench Monica once said felt too cold. It wasn't cold now. It was calm. Later that week, Eli texted me a sketch. It was of me, sitting on a porch, coffee in hand. A line under it, written in his handwriting. He didn't start the fire. He just stopped pretending it wasn't burning. I framed it, put it above my desk. Because that's the story I carry now. Not the one where I was betrayed, but the one where I survived being erased and came back sharper. No rage. No screams. Just a man who walked out of the fire and never looked back.